Hi guys, and we're back here for episode 6 of the Football Manager 15 Legends Experiment. And obviously now we're in 2025. Some of these legends who are in the game are actually getting into the late 30s. I've noticed a couple have retired now. So it's going to start getting a bit more interesting for our reset players we've been looking at. Obviously some of those guys are now getting into the later 20s and stuff, so they'll really get into the prime, the midfielders and the strikers and stuff. So it'd be interesting to see if any of these guys have made it into international competitions and stuff. As it's the last episode, we've had a European Cup, I believe. So look at the competitions here. Obviously, it's not changed at all actually since our last couple of episodes. So nothing big there. Clubs here, you can see Spain have actually won the European Cup, and we'll have a little cycle through the awards. So again, we're not seeing really any of the reset players coming into the tournament. It's still the legends. Look at the team, the dream team. So we've got a Frank Lampard in there. Can't really see anyone else of the reset guys. So we'll leave that then, and we'll have a little blip onto the Premier League. I don't know what added you by sure. So we'll skip past this quickly. We'll have a look at that afterwards, don't we? So where did we leave it off? It was in 22, wasn't it? And Man United had won the league, and Villa have pushed up to third, as I like to see being a Villa fan. It dominated it again in the following season. Villa dropping off. West Ham are right up there, but as we've noticed in past episodes, West Ham have been snapping up some of the reset players. So obviously they're getting to the late 20s now, so they should be really pushing on. So before we conclude the Premier League, we'll have a little look at the West Ham squad and see who they've actually got in there now. And obviously United winning it again, so United are dominating. Liverpool have actually dropped off a bit. See Arsenal coming up. West Ham have dropped right off actually after that second place win. Obviously, these teams aren't used to Champions League, so that might affect them in the following season after we're finishing so high at the table. Obviously, that's our current season. We'll have a little pop through also. We know his Best has done it again. He's just literally dominated English football, George Best, as we can imagine. Golden Gloves going to David Seaman. He's got it a couple of times now. Michael get it the year before. So manager of the year. Ooh, so we've actually got a bit of a change here from Peasley and Ferguson. Darren Revley's actually West Ham now rather than Leeds. Now, obviously, he's been put into the game because if anyone knows Leeds' history, he managed them when they literally dominated his English football back in the day. And Owen Coyle getting a manager of the year, the manager of QPR. So that's one for the books. Owen Coyle actually getting manager of the year. Obviously, people know him in the modern day football. He's a manager. So, top goal scorer for the last couple of years. Hickey Williams actually got it from Southampton with 30 goals in the season, so that's not bad. And this guy here is, I don't know who he is. He might be a Legends player. He's obviously coming to the end of his career now. He's at Stoke. So you player of the year. So we'll have a look. So Raheem Sterling's actually won it. So he's look at those stats. He's looking quite tasty, isn't he? So regens won it this season. So obviously now we are going to be getting a lot of regens coming into the game and stuff. And so late on, they're probably some of them are overtaking some of the reset players. We look at some of them that haven't developed that well and stuff. So they're probably overtaking some of the what's it? Have a look at the team of the year for the last couple of years. So the season before we've got no one in, but honestly the season they've just got we've got Higgy Wynn, we've got Lionel Messi in there now. So these guys are starting to break into the team of the year. Obviously, notice on the substitutes, we've got Vidic, who's obviously still at Chelsea. He's been quite a regular over there at Chelsea. So we're starting to see some of these guys breaking into the team of the year. I know Scotland's been a little bit boring; it's just been Celtic, but we may as well have a little peep, see if they've managed to do it. Celtic are looking quite dominant. What I might do, because obviously we've only got a couple of episodes left, and the very last episode after everyone's retired and stuff, what I might do is just do an episode, and I have loaded up Spain, Italy, Portugal, Germany, and France. So what I might do in the last episode is just have a quick look at, see who's won the leagues in the other divisions and stuff. What I've loaded up, some people might quite find interesting in that. We'll have a little recap on some of the other areas in the final episode after these guys are retired and stuff. So if you notice, Bobby Lennox is just winning it all the time, basically. So we'll go to stages. We'll have a little look. We finished in 2022. Obviously, Celtic were there. We'll quickly scroll through Celtic again, Celtic again. So Celtic, it's pretty boring up in Scotland, really. Celtic have won it every single year since Rangers have come back up and since we started this experiment. And I was quite surprised. Rangers did have a good host of legend players, and I thought they'd be challenging more for the title, but obviously not. It's a little bit disappointing. But we'll obviously move on to the shortlist because obviously this is where some things are quite interesting now. I have players all over the shop. We're going to scroll to the bottom because it's closest. See, we've noticed that Jalen's moved on to Newcastle. Now, Cortez, he plays for Liverpool in real life. I think he's left actually, but he's never really hit off there. And obviously, he's not done too well at Chelsea by the look of things. He was quite good in his early career, but he's moving to big clubs and playing a bit part role. As we notice here, Luis Suarez is still at Bordeaux. They managed to keep hold of him. And if he was now at Juventus, get another player reset. Reset's back in France in the second division. Starting the first division, and obviously we've gone down to the second, where he's done okay, I suppose. He's not done brilliant. 5 million there, and he's scored 8 in 15, and then Juventus have stacked up to 16.75 and hardly played him. He's Zlatan's one we've looked at quite a lot. I won't go into him again in this episode because we've looked at him every episode. But actually, we will, just in case anyone's been quite interested in following his career. Obviously, he's still been Mr. Consistency up there at Monaco in the French league. Probably getting a few more goals than he would in the Premier. Now, I've noticed this guy, he's not one of the reset players. He's actually in the game when you start, and he's 16. It's Luka Jovic. Now, he's a player that I always look at, but because he's 16 at the start, you have to wait till he's 18 to sign. So I've never really signed him, really. But I'm wishing I had now. Looking at those statistics, he's absolutely brilliant. He's almost as good as some of these legends in the game. And he's actually a real player who starts in the game on the normal patch at 16. And he just looks absolutely phenomenal. So he's not actually, he's not a reset player, but I thought we'd have a little look at him because I think, as you with Markovic, I think we missed him in the last episode. He's actually at Chelsea. So have a little look at where he's been. He's not really playing that much for Chelsea, but he's been there quite a while now. They're signing for a decent fee. It's quite a low fee to pay for him, really. So he's not done very good at Chelsea, really. But obviously he's a guy who's at Liverpool in real life, and he's come to the Premier League in this experiment. Ivanovic is still knocking around over there. And look at his icon. As you can see his stats there. He looks absolutely awesome. And I'm really, really surprised he's still playing in Serbia. You've seen Manuel Matic here. He's left Celtic. And we noticed with him in Celtic, he was doing really well for him. He was consistently. He's moved to Schalke and he's kicked on and he's carried on. We'd argue doing a little bit better, maybe. And again, he's another player who's looking really, really good. He's developed really nicely in this experiment. As we noticed here, guys, Ronaldo is still at Sporting Lisbon, so he's obviously becoming a bit of a sporting legend rather than getting to United and Real Madrid and all these massive clubs. So he's 27 now. He's made 3 appearances for Portugal, and he's only on 33k a week. So I don't know if you can see here, he's really starting to play a lot more for them. He's really starting to kick on with them performances, isn't he? And he's starting to become really regular in the first team. So I could imagine he might get snapped up in the future. Again, he's 27 now, so in the next we've got another 2 episodes left with these players, maybe 3 with some of them. So maybe in that 3rd episode, I'll go into some of the other leagues when some of these guys have dropped off the list, and the list's got a lot shorter. So obviously, Portugal look like they're keeping hold of some really good talent, really. Joe Mantinho obviously didn't get to hold down his place at Man City. No, he didn't really play for him. He signed for Southampton on a free transfer, and he's done pretty good for him for a free. I've noticed that a lot in this game. Quasmoya, he's really at the end of his career in the game. But again, he's a player who really hasn't developed that well, has he? Really hasn't. He's like, if anyone remembers him, he's really old in the games these days, but in past games and stuff, and in football and real life and stuff, he's been a real quality player sort of in his heyday. But obviously, he's another player who's not really developed that well. He's really stubborn at the start of his career, and since his move to, I think, where is the story? It is back in the Portuguese league, so he stayed in the Portuguese league. He's starting to do. He's not. He's one of them players that we've looked at, and it's part of the experiment. And what we're going to see is how these players are developing and whether they get the first team football to develop to their full potential. Obviously, he's again another player who hasn't. Johnny Evans. If you have a little look at Johnny Evans, you know, he's always really got really good in the game. I've done a couple with United over the games, and since he's been in it, and he's always become one of my main centre back sort of thing. Obviously, he's doing quite well there at Forest. He's probably still not. He looks good. He's still not probably fulfilled that full potential that he normally has. RVP there at West Ham. Should we see how he's getting on since so again, he's not really hitting the heights of the goal scoring that we know he's capable of in the game and in real life. But again, it's a different team, isn't it? So you might not get the feed. They might play with a different role, or you never know what could be happening with these players. And this is the thing with not going that in depth on them. To be fair, we could do this experiment again and just pick a few players, big players, and really get in depth on their career stats and stuff over the year. But obviously, with the size of the list at the moment, it's um it's not really, it would take us forever to get through. Stekovic Jovetic has now moved to Schalke. He kept his career over at Partizan. He's not really moved. The biggest club he's been. He's signed on a free. Played 70 games, but he scored pretty much in half of each of games. So that's not bad signing for them, really. But West Ham, see, they're slapping at this talent. West Ham are, aren't they? We'll have a look at their squad in a bit because they've snapped up a few of these reset players. I imagine the actual West Ham squad was looking really good. Obviously, if it was real life, they'd have an awesome squad. Hi, he's a young player in the game. He's older than what he normally is, but again, he's moved for 21 million, so that's quite a big fee, really. And he's moved back to Palmer. Look at his, again, he's a player who's not quite got the stats that he normally has. Rassi's still not getting around there, I believe. I'm sure Claudio Mascherano, he signed for QPR really early in his career on a loan deal. Yeah, he did. And he's actually moved there on a permanent deal much, much later on. After having quite a stagnant career, really. They're not really getting the roles, and he's come over to QPR and he's not getting the best ratings. But again, he's probably a player who's not developed as well as he normally would. And Chiellini, he's normally one of the top centre backs in the game. You see there, he's still got some of these. He's still looking good, but he's not quite there, is he? He doesn't really get the game time, even in his later years, than you'd hope he would. So I think really major with these Italian guys. QPR again have another team that's got a couple of these reset players. So next in the last episode, Michael Essien won Player of the Year, and he's looking really good with those stats. But have a little look. He has been really consistent for Villa, and it's nice to see that. Not for a Villa fan. We've snapped him for a free transfer, and what a good signing he's been. Essien's a top player in real life, and obviously he's one of the players who's developed pretty well. And again, West Ham snapping up some top talent in Philip Lahm. Now, obviously, he probably might not be as good as he normally is, but he's still a top player, and he's still going to be a good player for them. And again, these players are in their prime now, so see some really good performances. Mario Götze has been allowed to leave wherever he's been on a free transfer. He's gone to Kallstrom, not played that much, and then left. I would imagine there's a couple of Olympiacos. Could he be a player who's not really developed? He's looking good. He's not looking as good. As Rudy's left West Ham. He's now at Fulham. Debussy seems to be potting around. He's been back and forth to Newcastle, I believe. Oh no, sorry, I've got it wrong. I thought he'd moved there early in his career, but obviously not. In Villa, he's not done very good for them and made a nice little bit of a profit on him. Obviously, some of these guys probably aren't even getting caps. Nexus he's a top centre back in real life. Again, he's still not made an appearance for France. Moved to Tottenham and he's not really played for them at all since signing for them. His second spell. Obviously, we looked at Benzema in the other episodes and we noticed he really hadn't developed that well. And and still, even though he's got first team football, he's not looking like the world class player that we normally know off the game. We'll have a little look at his career stats here. So he's been playing in the second tier of French football, and he's doing good for the team. Really, you know, he's not. Obviously, he's never going to be the player that he normally is. So it's Frank Ribery now at Arsenal. So they've got Messi and Ribery on their flanks now in Arsenal. They're signing for 15 million. He still hasn't played a game for them. And Frank Ribery, he's an absolute monster in the game normally. And again, he's a player he looks good. You'd have him still at the top team, but he's not looking like the world class player that he normally is. And obviously, this is the thing with some of these guys now. They're not looking like the world class players they normally are. Andreas Iniesta is now at Roma. So again, he's a player who didn't really get into the Barca team. And obviously, we can see here he played a lot for the B team. He really didn't get in that much. And Roma actually snapping him up on a free transfer. Xavi, I don't know if I had him early in the list, but obviously he's looking like really world class midfielder. As for Xavi is in real life, and he's only 27 on this. And again, they snapped him up on a free transfer. So they're there's a lot of wheeling and dealing going on these guys, and they're getting into places and really good. If they're signing for free transfers and doing really well when they get there, where some of them are going for massive fees and just never playing games. Fernando Torres has popped about a bit on his career, hasn't he? So if you see, he's never really got in anywhere, has he? I imagine he will at Lille. He's signed for Tottenham and they've made a bit of a profit on him considering his performances haven't been amazing. A decent last season for Furanoid. Again, not playing that many appearances. Gerard Piqué at Stoke, along with Busquets. Have a little look at PK. PK's again his stats, his mental attributes and his physical attributes far been as good, but obviously his development been different. And this experiment, he's come to Man City, he's gone to Fiorentina now, he's gone to Stoke for quite a low fee, but yeah, he's played quite good for them really. A little Busquets is a Barca friend here, and again, he did play well for the B team, and he's sort of hit and miss career since. A loan spell he did quite well. You hear the beep in the background, guys. I have literally got a construction site over the road at the moment, so you'll have to excuse a little random noise in the background. We've got Cesc Fabregas, who's a player we looked at in the last episode, who's again another player who doesn't develop to a world-class player. As we can see, he looks good like mental attributes and his technical attributes, but it's his physical attributes that really let him down. And obviously, like we said then, he's had a different development. Like PK, he comes to the Premier League very early in his career in real life. And obviously he's developed quite differently in the game. Again, he's not really hit the heights as Fabregas. He's been okay. Zola's now at Juventus. He doesn't look as good as he normally does again. And again, West Ham have kept hold of Carrick for most of the career. I'd say Chamberlain moved to Chelsea in our last episode, and now he's at Leeds. And look at how he got on. He's played. They made it. It's not too bad selling on. Really, he didn't quite make it fully back, but he made some good appearances for Leeds last season. He had 10 goals. Really, he didn't get a great average rating. It was okay. He didn't even play for. He played. Had one season at Chelsea where he played 3 appearances. Four. He's not. He's only made total 9 appearances for Chelsea since signing for them. And after playing really quite well, okay for Southampton. And Henderson, he's going well at Southampton. By the look of things, he has kind of developed a little differently than he normally is in the game. Let's have a look how he's getting on there. So he's been doing good at Southampton. Really. 22 assists in one season. May have been in the Championship, but that's still pretty good going for a central midfielder. And Luke Shaw, he's another player who's moved left Southampton's youth system. Again, he's looking really quite good. He's 25 now at Liverpool, but he's not. He's only played one game for Liverpool. He did pretty bad in that game, and they've not really given him a chance after that. Tom Finney's a legend in the game. He's not one of the VSET players. We added him to the list because he starts at Preston and he was the only legend that they have. He's now 33 in the game. He's been at Calstrom since he left Preston. And Warnock's been a player who's put around a bit. We notice here above Warnock, Rio Ferdinand's at Real Madrid now. Obviously, he left Man United quite early in his career and went to Ajax. So he was a few seasons in and he signed for 28 million. I made quite a big loss on him, really. Not really even playing in the first team, only getting a few games. And he's only been a rotation player at Real Madrid, but he has played really well for him, so I'm surprised he's not becoming a regular. Again, it's another team that's going to be hard to break into, but the legends are dying off now. They're all retiring, so these guys are going to hopefully be getting in. That's if the regions haven't overtaken them. We noticed in the last episode, Wayne Rooney was available on a free transfer, and he's now worth 36 million at Notts Forest. See, he's probably not playing him up front, so to play him on the wing. Look at his career stats. Good free transfer for him, really. So the Everton had been relegated, so obviously didn't want to sign that contract. Forest have snapped him up, and he's doing quite well. Obviously, again, another player who's playing on the left now rather than up front. Again, Rooney's a very versatile player. They could play him anywhere, really. Look at how Phil Jones is getting on. Wow, Phil Jones. Obviously, they must play him on the left quite a lot. I know there's a screen you can look at this. Obviously, I didn't want to get into over much detail on every single player. But really, look at him. He's 26 years old. And again, he looks different than he normally does in the game. His defensive is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we'll have a look how he's been getting on there. So he's been getting in the squad regularly since he signed there. So we can understand how he's developed so well. He's been quite good. He's been consistent for them at the back. Where are we going? Let's get back onto here. So Young, he went to Forest. We're having a little pop see how he's getting on. And he's not really hitting the heights that he can. Danny Welbeck at QPR. So we haven't looked at many keepers. We'll have a look at Lingard. And as we can see there, he's looking really good on his stats. His form on the bottom there doesn't look brilliant, but we'll have a look how he's been getting on. He was at Crystal Palace for quite a while, and he's not been brilliant, but now he's getting late in his career. You can see he's getting the ratings now. He didn't really play that much for West Ham, but he's had a lot of games for Swansea last year. He kept 14 clean sheets. His rating's been picking up since he's been getting older. So, he's getting older now. As everyone knows, keepers don't really peak till their later 20s, early 30s. we'll keep an eye on him over the next couple of episodes. I don't think I've got that many keepers on here really. As I said, there's a lot of players all across the league. Every division in Europe and South America will have players who have reset, so I couldn't exactly get all of them on the list because there's probably thousands. So I've sort of kept to a lot of the big household names and a few names that I've found interesting I've signed in past games and stuff. And, players who have had good careers and stuff, and some of them at the start and at the end of the careers in real life. So I've sort of tried to get a bit of a variety of the range of players that I've got on the list. Obviously, we could have more. Kudrow, again, he's another player who's popped around quite a bit. He's looking rather good. He's looking rather tasty there, and he's at West Ham. So really, West Ham. We'll have a look at West Ham's squad after we get to the top of the list because they've got some really good talent by the look of things. Obviously, he's played really quite well for them. Again, he's a player who's popped around a bit in his career. Joel Campbell's another player who reset on the game, and I think he starts in Costa Rica. He starts at this team here. I'm not sure where they are. Have a little look at the. So they are a Costa Rican team. Obviously, there's no Costa Rican league open up. He signed Southampton, not done brilliant, but he's done really well last season. But that was in the reserve football. And Rodriguez is a player we'd thought we might see in Europe. He did come to France at one point, and again, he's looking really good. He spent a lot of time in the Brazilian league after he left France. Again, he's another player who's late on his career, who's really starting to kick on now. See, a lot of these guys are getting into the prime. Has he got any international caps? We didn't look. He's got, he's racking up the caps now. Obviously, like we've said, the guys from the, the more minor, as we would say, sort of nations in sort of as football rankings stand, will be getting a lot more chances of getting into the first team football. And Falco is now at Ajax, and obviously we've looked at Falco a few times. He went to Flamengo and he's been really banging him in for Flamengo. So he's come to Ajax, and considering his goal scoring record, he only played two. He signed from last season. He put him straight in the reserves and only played 2 games. As we can see, he has kicked on now. He's got 16 and 11 and 16, and he's getting them ratings. So it's good. It's interesting to see him in obviously European football. And again, Albert Beck's a player who's got lots of caps now. No, I think in the third and final episode, what we might do, I might even have a look at the England squad now and see if any of the reset players have made it into the England squad. We've still got some of the legends lingering on. Now, Eto's moved on to Fiorentina. Obviously, notice he hasn't set on his transfer listed. So Eto, he started well for Mallorca. Obviously got his move to Stoke, didn't do that well, and Fiorentina snapped him straight up, and he's hardly played for him at all. We'll have a little look at his abilities here, and again he looks good. He does look really good, but again he's still not the Eto that we remember of previous games in the past. Nadal, now he's got plenty of caps and a nice amount of goals for the central midfielder, his country. And again, he's about a player that snapped up in the third season of the experiment for 33 million for Man City. What might be excessive, but if you look at his ratings, how he's performed for them, you can understand. You can understand that free. I think Napoli signed for 4 million. They only got one season out of him, but just to make almost 29 million profit on a player after one season is fantastic. He's not really gone up in his value, but he's a player. He's looking like he's looking like he normally does in the game. He's looking like a world class player. Now, Berbatov is a guy we've looked at quite a few times. If you look at it, they're playing in the attacking mid role a little more. He's dropped down to the Championship, and he bossed the Championship last season. Really, he probably secured that promotion for him. Obviously, the season before he had a decent season. In the Premier League. He's not hit that 20 goals of the season like he has in the Championship. But obviously, he'll be picking up a lot more now he's getting older. Well, have a look at his caps because I imagine he's got quite a few. Yeah, 40 appearances and 10 goals now for his country. Now Oscar's XA, he's still not made any caps for Brazil, but again it's going to be a hard team to get into. He's not done overly great at Juve. He's not really played that much. Hopefully, considering he played the amount of games he played for Botafogo in these last season there, you know, now we should see these guys coming in. Ramirez obviously he's at Chelsea. If anyone played the previous games, he was at Benfica. I've always really liked him. Before he signed for Chelsea, he was at Benfica. I used to try to sign him all the time if I had the money. I was a team with a statue who could. And he's not played that well in the French division after his move from Juventus. And again, he's another player who's played for Benfica and he's been snapped up by Benfica. It's interesting, good to see. Alex, obviously, he's an old Chelsea centre back. He's at PSV. I'm not PSG. I'm not sure if he's still there in real life. He might have moved on. He's been quite consistent there for a while. He signed quite early on. He's a player I've missed out. Maybe I've scrolled past him and not really noticed. Maycan obviously everyone knows, and he's now at Man City. And he moved to Benfica quite early in his career. And we look at his, I like looking at the abilities. I like looking at the little spidergram as well as the numbers. Again, he's looking really, really good. And he spent a lot of his career at Benfica, as you noticed there. They made a nice profit on there, almost doubled their money. He's played, looks like he played rotation there quite a bit. He's had a decent, he's like the average season, but he's adapting. But he's been good for Benfica. Just to see if he gets in. You got any caps? Yeah, I doubt it. No, not just yet. Only 26, so he's still got a few years to go. Alves has made a return to European football, moving to Porto. So he started his career at Seville and he played really well. Went to Atletico, very average, didn't really play much. Went to Sao Paulo and he really kicked on there, playing a lot of games. So he got good rating last year, but didn't play that much. But I imagine he'll be getting more into the team now. It's one on the hairdryer driving past. Dante again, another. He's at Stoke, another. If you know Bayern Munich squad, he's been brilliant for them in real life. He's a player who's potted around a little bit. He come from the third division of Brazilian football to Spain, where he didn't play a game. Got loaned back to Brazil, went to France, spent a few years in France playing reserve football. Back to Brazil, comes to the Premier League to Arsenal, where he didn't play a game, then went to West Ham, and then went to Stoke, and then exchange. And he's doing all right at Stoke. He hasn't played that many games, but I imagine he'll be kicking on. Neymar, he's looks really good actually. Again, probably a bit older in this than he's in real life. I don't think he's got the. He's almost to his potential in the other game. Obviously, he went to Ajax. He really didn't play for Ajax, and he's gone to Brazil, back to Brazil, and he's absolutely smashed it since moving to Brazil. 30, 36, 36 in 50. Really good, really, really good. Probably too good for that league, maybe. We might see him coming back to Europe. He's 26 still, so he's still got plenty of time to go. Kaká is a player that I've missed off in previous episodes. I'm sorry, guys. He's an awesome player, back especially in his heyday. And obviously, we can see here he looks brilliant. Looks really good. And obviously, he's in France. And he spent quite a lot of time in Italy after £11 million move from Sao Paulo. Didn't really play over that well, but he's moved to France. And as you can see here, his statistics have really kicked on. 21 goals and 11 assists in his season with a 7.9 rating. It's pretty good, and he's kept that rating into that 7.9 going into that third season with them. So we'll see how he gets on in the next fourth season if they keep on and move to a bigger club. So obviously, a lot of the big teams, United team I've got to look at, and they pretty much haven't signed. They've signed a few regens, and that's it. Obviously, notice they've signed some reset players, but let them go. But the squad is pretty much exactly the same as it was at the start of the game. But the players now are in the 30s, 31, so they are going to be looking at signing players. So some of these guys might get snapped up as well as the regens. Obviously, I'm not going to get into the regens because that's not what the experiment's about this time. Coutinho, obviously, everyone knows him in the Premier League at the moment. He's really making a name for himself in real life. He's probably not got the physical attributes that he normally does in the game, but again, he's not played in the Premier League, so he's developed a little differently. Obviously, he spent all his time in the Brazilian leagues. And again, he's a player who's picked up. He dropped off a little bit the last couple of seasons, but he's picking up again. Nothing spectacular. Edin Dzeko's now wanted and unsettled here. So he's moved around a little bit in his career. Been at PSV actually, sorry, for quite a long time. He's not even broken into the first team. He's had a couple of little appearances here and there and played for reserves a lot. He's not really had a great career, has he, overall? 61 goals in 145 appearances. Pajnik, he's a player who's moved around a bit. As we noticed, he's been back. He's been to France. He starts. He's been to Premier League for a good few years. Never really got in anywhere. A few games for Villa in his last season. He made quite a nice profit on him, really, considering the, his rating in that season. He only played 8 games. And he didn't play for anyone in the Premier League other than that. He's gone to play a bit part player, and obviously now he had a good season last year in the reserves, and he's not really getting that Ajax first team that much. And Azay now at Deporto. He's not looking amazing. He's not looking as good as he normally does. And Monaco making a big loss on him, really. Quite a decent spin, half decent spin in Scotland. He's been potting around Italy since leaving Everton. And with a free transfer, and he's done okay for them. He's been amazing. Marlon now at Lille. Starts his career at Ajax. He went to Napoli. Went to France, then went back to Italy, and then he's back in France. He's doing good for them, actually. He's doing good for Lille. Obviously, Lille quite a good team. Now we've got to our player who's actually, before we get on to Messi, we'll have a little look at Elba. Again, he's one of them players who haven't really developed as much as he normally does in the game. But again, he's still looking like a really good left back. He's got 61 caps now, so some of these guys are getting the international footballs, and then that Buttes will start booming up and stuff. He's still got a little bit of time to progress, not majorly, but we'll drop back down to the championships. He might get snapped up again. Obviously, he spent his whole time really outside from Vienna at Bayern Munich in real life, and this alternative world, he's spent most of his time in the Championship and the Premier League. What massive teams, really! Does anyone know all the conspiracy? We'll have quite a bit of money now. So we'll get on to Messi here. Obviously, wow, his stats have gone up now. He's made 33 appearances for Argentina. He's only got 5 goals for the mind. He's looking like the Messi we all know from the game. So we'll have a look at his history now. So obviously he's getting the game time for Arsenal, and yeah, he's becoming the Messi that we all know in the game. He's getting to that 30-goal mark, almost 1 goal off it, and as we can see, 12 assists, 17 man of the matches, and an average rating of 8.44. He didn't even get in the Barca squad, and he's come to Arsenal, and slowly but surely playing him, he's getting more and more appearances, and his ratings just grew and grew and grew and grew. Obviously, a little dip there, but not too much. Big things from Messi, and he's 27 now. So you see, Pastore is at Chelsea. A little further at the list, Aguero is at Chelsea actually, so we'll move up onto them. And even the 21s, really good player in real life. I'd rate him. I like. He spent, a lot of time in the Argentinian and Brazilian leagues, and he's moved to Chelsea for 6.5. Not even made an appearance yet. See, Di Maria's now at Barcelona. It's looking quite good. They only just signed for made 3 appearances. A few games for Man City there. Didn't really do that well that season, but he started to improve. But again, we made a £16 million loss on him. There's a few guys here. Cambriasso, I think I missed him off previous episodes. Obviously, he's at Leicester in the game normally, and he'd reset, and I forgot about Cambriasso. I don't know how. He's an absolute diamond of a player. So he signed for Stoke quite a few seasons ago, so this one we really have missed, and he has played really well for Stoke. Moving from Argentina to France, where he did really good in France. But didn't have the best of last seasons for him. Might be unsettled or something, and then he's obviously nice profit there from Nantes, getting almost 20 million profit on him. Obviously, don't he's been consistent for him. He's nothing spectacular, but he just probably sits there in front of the back four and protects them. See, Sergio Aguero, he's now at Chelsea. He's come to the Premier League, and again, he's another player who's starting to get those stats. His stats are going up and that. I wouldn't say he's got the mental attributes that he normally has, especially with his teamwork and work rate and stuff. Probably aren't as good. Look how he's getting on at Chelsea. He's not playing 30. He's not played oh so much last season, but again, he's another player. I'd imagine he's going to start playing a lot more games for them. I noticed actually when I was watching it, Chelsea have actually, I don't normally do this, but we'll pop on. I've actually signed Shevchenko, a player who'd reset and I haven't put on. I don't know if you've set where you've been putting as a legend. Obviously, he's signed for 28 million. He's had quite a good career so far. So we'll see if Shevchenko actually cuts it in this reality Chelsea, because obviously in real life, he didn't do it overly great for them, considering the money they paid for him. Sergio Aguero, again, someone who moved to Southampton quite early on. Obviously, we noticed, wow, obviously we've noticed here they got relegated. He's come back in the Premier League and got the goals. That season he got relegated. I think that was the last time we looked at him. So obviously he's gone down to the Championship, bossed it in the Championship with 33 goals, and he's come back in the Premier League with 30 goals in his first season in the Premier League. So obviously he's a player who's really kicking on. Still not got any appearances for Argentina yet, but his abilities are looking really good. He's starting to sort of look like that Hickman we know. Maybe not as good, but we've still got a few more years really. Pablo again. Pablo, excuse me. A player who's at West Ham now. So again, I'm going to go into this West Ham squad at the end of this episode and have a look who they've actually got now. So they've been snapping up over previous episodes. They didn't really get into the AC Milan squad, but he's been getting in quite a bit at West Ham there. Tevez again, he's moved again. Been a player who's been a bit of a turncoat, hasn't he? He's never played more than 3 seasons anywhere. He's starting to pick up now. He's getting older. A really good season. Scored every goal game he played really for Mengo. 19 in 19. He's always been a really good player to buy in the game. I like he could play anywhere across the front in that attacking prop. Again, he's come over to Europe. He's played quite good when he has. And he's gone back to Brazil and then gone to Argentina for quite a low fee. He didn't even play in Brazil. But since he's going back to Argentina, look at their ratings. You can't argue with that for an attacking midfielder, a wide man. Milto, he's at Stoke. Look how he's got on there. He's obviously second fiddle to maybe to Higuain, playing up front with him. He's getting some goals. He's nothing spectacular. And Arsenal making a loss without even playing him really. Palacio again. He's another player who moves to Southampton. They're playing him on the right hand side by the look of things, but I look how he's getting on. Fair, he's getting on really well, isn't he? In the Championship, he got 20 goals. So I'd imagine Southampton in that year of the Championship really probably did smash it. So it's in the final ever episode after these guys retired, but I might have a little look at the Championship and when we recap some of the other leagues across Europe. So we might make that into we might have a lot to cover, so it could end up being a two-parter. Lamela. Obviously the verdict's still out with him in real life, really. He's moved to Tottenham, and it's whether he's trying to adapt to the Premier League and he's going to take time, so he's still quite young. But, he's a really, on the game, he's a top player. He always does really well. But he's at QPR. He's been to some big clubs, he has. So obviously, aside from he starts at River, got snapped up by Bruges, he didn't do too well. And obviously, he's gone to Tottenham where he's in real life. And he's done pretty well for Tottenham, really. He's probably done better than he has in real life. Didn't play much of that last season. Got snapped up by Barcelona, he played with the reserves, and they didn't play him at all. Got brought by Sampdoria, did average, didn't really play much. I'll keep our stats up. He didn't play much in the first season, but I'll imagine we'll see some more of him in the second. But obviously, he's challenging Sterling, who's looking tremendous, but he's looking really good himself. Again, another Argentinian white reset player who's at QPR. So have a look at him. He's another white player. He's not really got in. Again, he's had some decent ratings, but he's not really got in anywhere, has he? It's a first team football. Signed United early in his career. Mascherano, we've looked at him a few times. I think he's been at River for quite a while now, after signing for Monaco. Made a massive loss of him, really. Didn't even play that much, but he's gone through it. He's smashing it. Right at the top of the list, Pablo Piatti. I don't know if anyone recognises his name. Obviously, you probably will if you've done games in the Spanish division. But in some early games, I can't remember which one it was now. I think it might have been 11, maybe 10 or 11. You could pick him up. Or it might have been even earlier than that. It might be 9. So you could pick him up for dirt cheap. And he used to develop into a really good player. But obviously, he's a bit expensive to buy the late ones. But he's reset and he's at Villa now. He's looking fairly decent, really. He hasn't played for that much. He played for a few games in the first season, starting from Tottenham again. But what I want to do quickly before we conclude the episode is I want to have a look at this West Ham squad because by the look of things, as we've gone down this list and stuff, there's quite a few players now at West Ham, and they finished second the season before. So we'll have a little look. See, they've actually got in the club. Obviously, we noticed Don Revie is in charge. He's left Leeds. Quick little pop of his history. Computer's having a little moment here. So he left West Ham. It doesn't actually say what happened. Sacked as a Leeds boss after qualifying for the Europa League. And then obviously took charge of West Ham. So we'll have a look at this. So I imagine Don Revie, if anyone knows English football, as I've said before, they'll know Don Revie, and he's a really good manager. So we'll have a look at the West Ham squad because we've seen a lot of these really good young reset players down there. So we'll start in the defence. So there's Bobby Moore's one of the legends they start with. You'd imagine he's awesome. Sammy Hype's a player who's reset, who I've probably missed off the list, and he's now at West Ham. Obviously, he looks really good. He's not like a player I overly rate. He's at Tottenham now, so he's obviously a good player in real life. He's not someone I've ever brought or looked at really too by. But obviously, he's a reset player. He's looking really good. As you can see there, they've got a good back line there. They've got Philip Lahm, as we've noticed. Charlie Atkin, I think he starts at Villa. Have a quick look. Yeah, he starts at Villa. Munich snapped it up quite. So Villa sold him quite early on, actually. He's been around Europe a little bit. In Germany and Italy. He's been at West Ham for quite a while, signed for quite a low fee, really, for the quality that he is. He's a legend in the game. Obviously, Villa fans will know him. He's quite an old player. And they've got Glenn Johnson. I don't know if Barnett had reset. I'll have a little look. He might have done in the Premier League for a while. Obviously, we looked at Quadraro. Carrick starts there, and he's obviously progressed. And Nagolan, I think is that's how you pronounce his name. I used to sign him on some of the old, signing. I've signed him a few times in the game. He's very aggressive. But he's like that minute, if you want someone to win the ball in that midfield and put you a bit of aggression in there, it's quite good for it. He's been at West Ham a while now. Obviously, he's been rotation. They've got some good players. Yeah, obviously they've got Stuckman. Now worth 30 million. Have a little. He's not made any appearance for Holland yet. Obviously, they've got a really good squad, and he's been pretty consistent for them. We've looked at Van Persie. Henry Kuehl starts as a legend in the game. And he's looking quite good. He signed from Leeds. So far, obviously, we've looked at Kagawa. We've got Amir. We've got Herrera. Obviously, they've signed Alan Smith who's a player who's resetting the game, and he just looked really good. And a bit of a surprise here, guys. They managed to snap up Eric Cantona. He's obviously he's a legend in the game. What a signing for West Ham, really. Signed for 20 million. He's been brilliant for him. He won't even get in the United squad in the later years there. His late years at United. Quite well from in the first season. But on paper, you know, that in real life that squad would be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? Really. I believe he's just a legend in the game. Yeah, probably is. So if you looked at that pay, minus the legends, that's a fantastic squad, isn't it? Really, for West Ham. And this is what the experiment is. Some of these teams have really, really done well. I might have a quick little nose at the QPR squad because obviously these guys look like they've snapped up a couple of players. See Phil Jones looking really good. Obviously they've got Ramsey, they're playing at right back now. But I know Phil Jones, he's not really set, but he's 32 now. He still looks brilliant. Marquisio, Lamella, Sterling, who starts there. I'm surprised he's not snapped up. He's worth 43 million now. Well, quick look at Sterling. Now he's got on a QPR over his career, so he's been really good. I've a little slow, but over the last few years now he's developed. He's getting really, really good ratings and assists. Creating them goals. So it's Lavezzi, I think that's the right pronunciation. Nani, another player. There's a lot of foreign-based players who's reset, and I'm not put on the list, and maybe some of them I don't know from foreign clubs because literally every team across Germany, Italy, and everything's reset. So there's so many players who reset. Obviously, Kovac, he's a very sorry for 9.5. He's been pretty good for him, really. Didn't do that well for Lazio. It was a bit average for him. Obviously, I'd be keen on Welbeck up front. I haven't really looked at Welbeck, and he's looking like the Welbeck from the game normally. And again, he signed for him for 19.5 million to not even make an appearance for United. And since signing for him, he's gone on to be a really good striker. So him and Keane up front have been quite a partnership for him. Yeah, there's a brilliant partnership for keeping by the look of things. Now you see they are playing them together up front. So obviously, guys, that concludes the episode for today. And we'll get on to the sixth episode. Sorry, episode 7. So obviously in episode 7, some of these guys are going to be like 29, but and hopefully we've already seen a lot of these guys are breaking into their international teams and stuff. So a lot more of them. And I did say we're going to have a little gander before we finish at the England squad and see if any of these guys are actually broke in. So have a little look here at the national main squad. So obviously, as we noticed, there was a lot of the legends still in the thing. And obviously, we noticed their ages now, so they are going to be bringing other players in. I'm imagining he might be a regen. So yes, some of the regens are overtaking some of the reset players, as we noticed. Because Gerard resets, but he's still like his abilities at the start are just absolutely phenomenal. So I didn't want to put him on the list because he just because Jordan Henderson looks like he is the only reset player who's made it into the England squad so far. Well, currently, what we can see at the moment. The rest are all legends in the game, as you've noticed. Gary Lineker now at Atletico. A lot of them haven't really moved from the clubs they start at. Yeah, is there anyone? Feel right. Obviously, we've got a regen in there now, so the regens are actually overtaking. Obviously, there's no point looking at the under 21s because it is just going to be regens. But that concludes today's episode, and I'll crack on and try and get you next episode over the next couple of days.